everybody. This video we're going to be focusing on a very important tool that you may get a lot of use out of. Actually, it's going to be this video and the next two videos, and that is the Whiteboard tool. Now again, for many of you, you may be plugging your laptop or your Chromebook directly into the IFP, and you may be doing everything from your laptop and Chromebook. So this particular tool may or may not be valuable to you. I want you to keep in mind that the IFP actually is designed that it can be used without plugging any device into it. It's got the internet built into it. It's got a whiteboard built into it. It's got all the network features built into it so that you can save stuff to Google Drive. It could actually operate in isolation of any device. But in this district, we're used to plugging our laptops or our Chromebooks in and using our flip charts and all from our laptops and displaying them onto the board, and you'll just go ahead and continue doing that, and that's fine. For those of you who want to be a little bit more adventurous, I did want to show you the Whiteboard tool and some of the features that it has built in. So you can see I'm on the home screen. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Whiteboard tool, and it opens up to a screen that has a lot of files that I've saved already. When I want to create a new Whiteboard tool, I just click on the plus sign, and from here I can import a PDF. I can create a new note, or I can just open up a default note. We're going to look in the next video about importing PDFs and why that's important. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and click on Create a New Note. And it brings me to this screen, which has a lot of great templates on it. It's got lined paper with wide spacing. It's got lined paper with some more narrow spacing. It has some Cornell organizers. It has graph paper for all those math teachers out there. It has cross grid paper, isometric grid paper. And you can just keep scrolling down and seeing all these great templates that you can open up. A polar diagram. This is way beyond my expertise. Some of those math and science teachers out there may know. This I do know. These are your music staffs for those music teachers out there who are getting an IFP. If you're a phys ed teacher or you're a coach, you can bring up basketball court diagrams, baseball field diagrams, football fields, baseball score stat sheets. There are so many great tools already built into the Whiteboard for templates that you can choose from. You have weekly organizers that are already in here. And then if you really wanted to, in the next video when we talk about importing the PDFs, if you use a specific assignment organizer or a planner for your students, you could actually scan in a blank organizer or planner and open it up as a PDF, and then you could be writing the homework assignments down as the kids are doing it at their desk. But just for fun, let me open up a music staff. Let's just do a treble clef. I just click on it once, and it brings up the organizer for me. So what I can do is I can just write on it. Usually it'll default to the last pen that I used. I have the undo button here, so I really didn't intend on writing there. So the arrows at the top are undo and redo. And then what I can do is I can click on the pen tool, and I have lots of different options here. I can click on the type of pen that I want to use. I can click on a selection tool, this circle that looks like a bunch of dotted lines. That allows me to select things. So if I start writing on this organizer and I want to select things to delete, I would select that circle with the dotted lines. I would draw a circle around what I want to delete, and I could go ahead and delete that. I have the eraser tool, I have shapes, and I have text boxes. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to select a pen. And from here also, you can see on the screen here, let me change the color to black, maybe you'll be able to see it a little bit better, is I can adjust the thickness of my pen tool. So you would have to think that if I'm going to be doing something with early primary and I want to work on letter formation, I'm probably not going to use a really, really thick tool because it's going to kind of blend everything together, that space between the O and the circle of the O, or if I'm writing an A, that space at the top might get filled in with the thicker pen. I'll probably want to choose something a little bit thinner. From here, I can also choose whether or not my pen tool is going to be pressure sensitive. The idea behind that is the longer I hold my finger down, the wider the image is going to be that I'm drawing. And also multi-touch. Remember, this is a 10-point touch IFP. If I select multi-touch, I could do 10 lines all at once. But I may not want to do that if I'm only doing letter formation. My wrist might touch the screen or whatever. I might just want one touch. So you can turn that multi-touch on and off from there. So right now, let's leave it at that. I can choose 3 different pens. I have the pen tool here, which is very much like a pen or a pencil. I have a highlighter tool here, and this highlighter tool has both the width of the highlight and it also has the opacity of the highlight. So if I don't want to have it a full solid black highlight, let's say I want to highlight something in a text, I'm not going to want 100% because basically I'm just going to black out everything that I wanted to highlight. I'm going to want to drag that down a little bit, and you can see as I drag it down, the image fades out a little bit. That turns it more into a highlighter tool. And then the last pen option is your quill tool. You can see that's more of like an artistic type of a tool. If I'm going to be drawing something and I want that quill effect, I can choose that. So let me go over to the pen tool. I'll just drag the thickness up a little bit, and I'll just show you what that looks like. I can draw my line there, and I can make the, you can see here my note is actually covering the E, F, and G lines. So maybe I'll want to go back and I want to kind of make that a little bit narrower so that I can just kind of fill in one line there. Again, play around with those settings. You'll find out which ones your favorites are in terms of the thickness and which pen tool, etc. Once I get done, what I'm going to want to do is I'm probably going to want to name this document. So over here where it says Untitled Note, I'm going to click on there, and it brings up a screen for me to name the file that I just got done. So when I click on there, it brings up a keyboard, and I just go ahead and type in music staff. I just click OK, and then I can click the back button, and it brings me back to my screen again. And you can see here now that the music staff that I just created is now available for me to choose. So let's say I started something with a class. The class period ended. Well, the next class period, the next day, I can always go back to my notes, and I can just select that and continue where I left off. So what I want to show you also is this document here. So let's open up this document. I want to show you under the pen tool, I kind of talked about that circle with the dotted lines. I want to click that for you now and show you what that does. So I clicked on that. What I'm able to do is I'm able to circle something that I wrote. It selects it. And once I select it, I can actually make that smaller. I can make it wider. I can make it taller. I can actually move it around my document. I can also copy it, paste it, or I can hit the delete button and just get rid of it altogether. That's really handy because it allows me to kind of select parts of my document and move them out of the way if I want to. And the larger the area that I select, the more of what I drew or what I wrote I'm able to select and move around. So this, I can select the S and just make that taller. So it really allows you a lot of flexibility in manipulating what you write on this board. And then once I'm done, I can just hit the back button and go back to the main screen right here. Also, what I want to show you is here's a drawing that I did. It reminds me of my summer cruise that I miss very much. But what I'm able to do here as well is under the pen tool, right next to it is your colors. This is where I go to change my colors. You can see I have a nice palette of colors here. I can make those colors darker, or I can make them lighter by dragging this sun to the moon. And you can see as I'm doing that, the greens are getting a little lighter green as I drag it closer to the sun. And if I'm really specific on my color, I know exactly what I really want, that Medford green, and I'm not seeing that here. If I click over here, and I actually know the RGB numbers for the color that I want, I can actually just get the exact shade that I'm looking for my pen tool using the RGB colors. And then once I'm done that, I click back to the pen, choose which pen I want, and then I can just start drawing on top of there. I know that was a lot for this video, but what we saw is how to open up the whiteboard, how to open up saved files, name those files. We looked at how to access those files once we've named them and saved them. We looked at the different pen tools with the different options in terms of the pen, the highlighter, and we looked at the quill tool. We also looked at how to make the line thicker, the pressure, and the multi-touch. Again, if I choose the multi-touch, I'm now able to do up to 10 different lines all at once. We looked at changing colors as well. So that's kind of a basic overview of the whiteboard feature in your IFP.